Hi, my name is Ari. I'm 46 years old. I've got 4 kids and a granddaughter. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. The history is just so extensive, everything I went through. But I caught a virus and got sick, was misdiagnosed, put on a bunch of different medicines. It started off, I just started not feeling real good, and then I started having some vestibular symptoms. Kept going to the emergency room thinking I was having a heart attack because of the anxiety was causing my heart to race. It was just one thing after another. I would have daily episodes and then they would go away, and then things just kept getting worse, symptoms changing. I thought I was recovered around the 3-month mark, and then I came home and did a big bunch of exercising because I'm a very active person, and it made my symptoms a lot worse. And so I thought, I've ruined my recovery, which I found out later was totally not true. If anything, it was helping it. It was just my anxiety toward the whole thing. And exercising can make your symptoms worse, which is a good thing because then you deal with the symptoms. But I was probably overdoing it, honestly. But I just want you to know that recovery happens. Even since Christmas, things get a little worse when I have company over. And so Christmas was really busy, so it made my symptoms a little worse. But I just feel a little heaviness in my eyes. If I move my head really quickly, like there's nothing there. I used to feel like a movement, but honestly, I could take the physical symptoms. I can handle the falling sensation I had in my head, or I don't like the visual stuff. I had a lot of visual delay. Like if I would move my head, it's like the world would trail afterward, kind of like when you smoke too much weed, almost like a tracing effect, but it was a lot worse. and I know a lot of people are struggling, and I just wanted to put a video out there to let you know that you need to live your life. It's going to be scary, but you need to get out there and you need to do your best to live. I avoided driving. In the beginning, I didn't. I was pretty much living my life. I was probably a little too hard on myself, actually. But you need to let yourself feel the feelings. I probably hindered my recovery a little bit by not getting up and doing things because I was so anxious. I want to tell you not to smoke. Don't drink coffee. Watch things that will stimulate you. They will make your anxiety worse, and it can make your symptoms worse. I made that mistake. I started smoking again because I was really depressed. It was before I did research. I had started doing research, and it scared me. What I found scared me. I was looking in the wrong places. See, you need to stop listening to those negative stories because these are people that are truly scared, and I'm not blaming them. They may have something else wrong too. You just don't know. But you got to focus on your own recovery and get an underlying sense of security and know that you will get through this. I believe that the damage that virus does to that nerve, I believe it's permanent, but your brain will compensate. And you've got to I never really liked doing the vestibular exercises, but when I was feeling off balance, when I walked, my legs would feel really, really weak, and I hated that feeling. My limbs would feel really weak. I did vestibular exercises for that, and what I did was I would stand on one foot, and I would lean forward, and it was a little difficult at first, but I got really good at it. After a couple days it left and it never came back. I would walk a straight line, one foot right in front of the other. I would close my eyes, try to keep moving. After the 3rd month, all that inflammation is probably gone, and what you're left with is neural circuit dizziness, neural circuit symptoms. I am not an expert in this, but I will tell you that the Steady Coach and other videos really helped me, other people that have recovered. You need to get off your hind end, you need to move, and you need to not be afraid of your symptoms because that's going to keep them going. And I know that it's so scary, and your brain is going to feel afraid, and your symptoms may get worse. no matter how anxious you feel, that anxiety is coming from your brain, not you. That first fear that you have is coming from your symptoms, not you. You're going to show your brain that you are not afraid by moving. And it got to the point to where I would move just to bring the symptoms on, but you don't want to overdo it. There are people that are like, I was running and I was doing this every day and I kept working and fine. I worked for them, but it may not work for you. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, because if you get your symptoms riled up too much, it might make your anxiety so bad that you might have a setback. You don't want to do that. So be gentle with yourself. I would turn my head, turn it back, and I would let the symptom finish itself out. And then I would turn my head the other way, and I would just keep doing that. And I started driving really made the symptoms worse. So I stopped driving, which was probably a mistake. But I was probably 6 or 7 months along in this, and I said, I have got to start driving. So I just got my keys and I just went for drives at night. And I felt a little more safer at night. So I would drive at night and I would deal with the symptoms. And then I got to where I would turn my head while I was driving, and then it would bring on the symptom. I can feel a little bit of it in my eyes. It's probably because of the screen. I had a lot of trouble looking at my phone for a while. It wasn't very long. It was early on. I just felt really, really sick. There was one episode that I had early on that I couldn't even move my eyes. And that's when the symptoms they just kept changing. Sometimes for a little while I felt like I was even doing this when I sat still. I no longer feel symptoms when I'm sitting still in my body. The brain fog was absolutely bad. It's because your brain is so overwhelmed and it's working hard to settle things. So don't overwhelm yourself. Don't just take it easy, pace yourself with the symptoms. If you're triggering yourself and you're allowing the symptoms, just feel them. That's listening to your body. Feel the symptoms, let it pass, trigger it again, let it pass. There may be other people that had a better approach, but for me that's what worked, and I heard a few other people say that's what worked for them. But the fear and the anxiety were the worst part of it. I cried so much. But today I haven't hardly had any symptoms. There might be a little bit of a delay when I look, but I really don't notice it that much, especially in the evening. I always felt better at night. My symptoms most of the time would leave at night, so I would end up staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning. So I would take long walks at night, but one day I'd had enough, and I had so many negative thoughts that they made me feel horrible. Like, I never thought that I could ever feel like that. I felt so black on the inside. And I went out and made myself work in the garden, and then I mowed the yard, and then I weed eated, and it was like a great big huge reduction in the physical or the mental stuff. And it was just a buildup of stress is all it is. Chemicals, they build up. If you keep moving, you can, burn them off. But you've got all this energy generated in your brain, and it's manifesting itself as anxiety. Your brain is overactive right now. And there may be times when you just gotta rest. So do it. Don't be Superman like I was at first. I did a lot of stuff and I didn't let it stop me, which was good, but I think I overwhelmed my system, especially when I started smoking, and then I just stopped moving. Would come out here and just sit, and I would make the kids do all the extra housework, which was good for them, but it wasn't good for me. It is so scary to have to face these symptoms, and sometimes they get worse. I had a little bit of a bout last night. They got worse. It was more of a pressure, and sometimes I get a little ear pressure still. It's not bad. I did have one morning ear pain. It was very early in the first week. It was absolutely horrible. It didn't last very long, maybe 2 minutes. The pain was it was like a heat generated from both of my ears, and it felt like my eardrums were going to pop. I called my mom. I was crying. I was like, please tell me I'm going to be okay. At that point, I had no idea. The medical system around here sucks. I live on the river in Ohio, and it took me weeks to get into my primary care physician, and then I had to get an authorization to go see the ear, nose, and throat doctor. So it took me 3 months to get into the ear, nose, and throat doctor. And by then, the symptoms I had were, I just felt like my head was about to fall off. If I moved my head just a little, or moved my eyes, it just felt like my head was going to fall off. And it was a very, very scary symptom. And I had, when I would walk, I would feel like my head was falling inside. It was, that for the most part is gone. It's the visual stuff was the worst. I absolutely hated it. It was so bad. And then I would move my head, and then I would just feel fear. It was just like I couldn't get a break, couldn't catch a break. It was awful. But follow the study coach. She can help you big time. Don't read the comments, man. There are people that have their stories and they're like, I've been dealing with this for 30 years. You don't know their story. You don't know if they're lying. And I know that there are trolls out there. I've seen it. You know, they just want to scare people. That's not your story. Neuroplasticity works. It will work for you. You're just training your brain. If you just take the symptoms with you, just sit with them. I had a bad life. My childhood was awful. I was married. My first husband tried to kill me a bunch of times. Tried to murder me. And I'm still recovering. Don't go digging up stuff. I mean, if you got emotions, pop up, deal with them, feel them out. I did. Anytime I feel like most of them are negative. Anxiety is a symptom of, it's an emotion. You got to feel it. Don't suppress it. I believe this dizziness stuff, the neural circuit stuff, comes from fear. It's your brain thinks it's in danger and it wants you to sit still. And the more you move and you learn, your limbic system is kind of dumb. I mean, it's always watching, but you can teach it, you can trick it into thinking that you're okay by keep moving and trying not to worry. You're going to have your own mind doing its own thing, but I still get racing thoughts, which I hate. I still kind of feel a little foggy, but that'll all go when everything settles down. But the study coach has a lot of advice. She's real big into digging into your childhood. I think that could re-traumatize you, and it puts a lot of stress on you. If it's stressing you out, don't do it. Journaling can really help you vent out your frustrations. I thought journaling was stupid. I thought it was for sissies, but it's not. It's actually, it's my prayer journal, and I vent all my frustrations, all my fears, all the things I'm afraid of, and it gets it out. And that journal's always there, and the Lord is always there. So if you're your higher power, not everybody believes in God, but I do. But I'm not going to preach or anything. I just want you to know that you will be all right. It's going to be hard. Even if you are sitting still and can just move your head, the more you do that, the less afraid you will be. And I am having pretty much a symptom-free day. So I've been having a lot of them. It's good and bad days. But honestly, like I said, if I had to deal with what I'm dealing with right now for the rest of my life, I'll be fine. They're very minimal. As a matter of fact, one night I took my daughter, I had to take her to my son's house in deep into Kentucky. It was about an hour drive, and I was in the car for 2 hours. I'm moving my head, to bring on them symptoms, and it was kind of tickled. Like, it would start in my forehead, and it would kind of tickle down the back of my neck. And I'm just like, this is kind of cool, things will fade for you. But you got to let them take their time. They will leave. You got to trust your brain, trust your body to heal itself. I wish I'd have put on some makeup. My eyes are so chinky right now. But But I'm praying for everybody who is struggling. The mental stuff can be absolutely horrible, but it will pass. I know you can't see that right now because you're in it. There were times when I thought, I'm never going to get through this. I became suicidal. But like I said, don't listen to the negative people's story. They could have a tumor. They could be doing drugs. And anxiety it can be lifelong. And I believe this is related to anxiety. A fear that I had was my pre-existing anxiety condition was going to just keep this going, but it hasn't. Not at all. Not even, if I have a fear, I'll journal it out. And if I see a video that'll pop up in my feed from the study coach, I'll watch it. But don't go to online doctor. They will give you a lot of negative information. I'm not even going to tell you what they say. Big mistake. Because I'm proof that vestibular neuritis symptoms, your brain will compensate. And watch a lot of other people's videos. I mean, I thought that I was never going to get any better. Even when I started seeing the symptoms go at night, which was proof that it was neural circuit. I think from the very beginning this was neural circuit. I just think I had a mild inner ear infection, and my anxiety kept it going. If I would have found a study coach in the beginning, I would probably already have been over this. Knowledge is power, but I want to pray for each and every one of you, Lord. There are people out there who are suffering. They feel so sick. And I humbly ask that you touch them tonight. I feel the Spirit on me right now, and He wants you to know that you'll be okay. Just trust Him. And trust the body He gave you. It will fix itself. Your brain, you can learn. Your brain will learn how to balance itself. If you can learn to ride a bike, your brain can learn. And if the symptoms can disappear 5%, they'll go away the rest of the way. But I want you to hang in there and know that God is on your side. Your body is on your side. And your brain knows exactly what to do. Let it. I'm preaching to myself because I still struggle with some of the mental stuff that remains, but it's just because you got an overactive brain. You could also watch Dave Buglio. He's a good one. But I just want you to know that I'm praying for you, Lord. I just thank you for touching each and every person. Help them to get back to homeostasis, Lord. Help them all, Father. In the name of Jesus, I thank you for touching their mind, their body, help their brain to calm down, and give them the courage and the strength to do what they need to do to get to where you want them to be. And we know that you are a good God, and you want them healed. You want them to be all right. I praise you and thank you, Lord. Amen. But I had just about every symptom but vertigo. I didn't even have that. My eyes didn't even move around. I just remember feeling awfully dreadful. And I would distract myself from the symptoms, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. The nervous system does not handle being ignored very well. And your brain knows when you're stuffing it, when you're hiding it, when you're suppressing it. And I know there are times when you have to, when you got to go out and do something, you got to ignore it. And that's okay. When I balance my checkbook, I got to have my brain. I got to ignore the symptoms for a little bit, but just let them write it out. It's easier said than done, but I am proof that it's not forever. My symptoms have been fading since the beginning. They've been changing, but the fact that they go away and come back and they change, the fact that they're changing, that's proof that it's not permanent damage. Your nerve may not even be damaged. It's just all up in your brain now. It's hard to understand, but once I learned that it's not that nerve that needs to calm down, I thought to myself, I'm doing stuff that's flaring the nerve up. I need to take more Tylenol, or I need to do this or do that, and no, that inflammation's gone, so but if you've got any questions, just hit the comment. There are so many people out there that have gotten better. It's just, you got to know, you got to have knowledge and not be afraid. No matter how your brain makes you feel, your brain's going to do all kinds of crazy stuff during this. But trust your body. Trust the Lord if you believe in him. And trust me, I was so very sick. I was so very anxious. I just didn't think that anxiety could ever be that bad. I thought something horribly was wrong with me. Your brain is built for survival, not for happiness. So your brain is gonna give you all these problems to solve. Just let it chatter, let it do its thing, and there's other people out there that got better advice than I do. Dan Buglia with Pain Free You, he's a good one too. He's really helped me out a lot. And the Steady Coach and all those other people that have recovered, and there's other videos. Watch who you listen to. There's some videos out there that are not that great. Be careful. You don't want to feed fear. So, we're supposed to get some snow. Southern Ohio here, right on the river. We're supposed to get some snow. But, are you okay, buddy? You need to get your inhaler. Don't be making me sick. Alright, guys. God bless you. Trust yourself. I believe in you. And you'll be fine. Your brain will figure this out. Just gotta let it. Have a good night. God bless you.